Hello friends, let's continue our series. Now we will be moving on to the lecture 15, that is class and objects in Java. So a class is a user defined data type. It acts as a blueprint for creating objects. It groups related variables, that is attributes, and methods, that are functions. Class names in Java usually start with a capital letter by convention. A class doesn't consume memory until an object is created from it. A class can contain fields, that are variables, methods, that are functions, constructors, blocks, nested classes. It supports encapsulation, that is wrapping data and code together, as we previously understood. It can contain access modifiers like public, private, which control visibility of our class members. More on this later on. A class can implement interfaces and extend other classes, which is inheritance, as we previously learned. And finally, Java supports only single inheritance. One class extends another. So I'll explain the points so that you can understand them clearly. A class is a user-defined data type, which means it is defined by the user. It acts as a blueprint for creating objects, which means in a class we can create objects of different types together. It groups related variables and methods, which means we are able to put variables and methods which are related to each other in a single class. The class names usually start with a capital letter by convention. So whenever you put a class name in Java, you always start the first letter with a capital letter. A class does not consume memory until an object is created from it. So if you create an object in a class, it will contain memory, and if you do not, it will not contain any memory. A class can have fields, which are variables. A class can have methods, which are functions. The constructors, which hold the value. The blocks, which are the basic blocks of a code. The nested classes, which means a class within a class. Then the classes support encapsulation. The classes can have access modifiers like public and private. The classes can implement interfaces and extend other classes, which is inheritance. And finally, you have to remember that Java supports only single inheritance. Next, we move on to the objects. An object is a real-world entity created based on a class, which means it is a real-world entity and it is created on the basis of our class. An object is an instance of a class. It contains actual values stored in memory. You can create multiple objects from a single class, which means you are able to create as many objects or instances as you want from a single class. Each object has its own copies of non-static fields. Objects interact with each other using methods, which means they communicate and collaborate with each other using methods or functions. Finally, objects are created using the new keyword, but you are not asking for syntax right now. Basically, whenever you are creating the objects, we are using the new keyword, but right now we are not be focusing on the syntax because that will be covered in the later part. Thank you for watching.